So where are we? Car came back from up north with a list of stuff that needs doing on it to push it over the line. You know, car drove okay. Car drove more than okay. It drove fine. However, there was more to be unlocked from the setup. We had a manifold leak, the exhaust was too small, and more importantly, the intercooler was not what we needed. Now, you can probably see that looks a whole lot different in there and one thing or another. That's because that's already happened, or the majority of it has. It's not finished yet, but it's kind of getting there. This thing's brilliant. Well, it isn't, but it is. Anyway, I'm not seeing anything turbo-wise that's giving me cause for concern. It's all nice and tight. Oh, Christ, there's a weight. Oh my word, how heavy is that? And it's cracked. I got no idea. It's how or what or anyway. Right, there's no way of putting that round, so we did get some nice new nuts. Of course, you know, it does help if you put the turbo on the manifold the right way. Gearbox, what's the plural for a, you know? I don't know. Anyway, now, I'm no expert, but I'm not sure that should be rolling round in there, because we're definitely not like it in this one. This one's all tight. So that diff, and I don't think I broke that. But anyway, we're gonna give this a bit of a, so instead of sitting here for hours with the thing, a funnel and whatever, we're gonna chuck some of the good stuff in here. Last night I decided I was gonna just have a quiet night, stick the music on and potter away and put a few bits back and one thing or another. Next thing I know, I've cracked out your welder, and that's happening. It's not bad. The welds are well, at least as good as what was on there, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. As it stands at the moment, the intercooler is so, and that is in the middle, believe it or not. It's just that the radiator's offset. This intercooler here, as it comes there, fits in there lovely, and that raises it up, puts the pipes in the right place there. However, unfortunately, when I bought this was supposed to have had 2.5 inch inlets, so they were roughly the same, a little bit bigger, the same size as that one. They're not. They are, well, put it this way, that's a 70mm pipe on there. So whilst obviously that makes for a better intercooler, unfortunately the problem is still the same. We've still got, where's the middle? We've still got this issue here, and you can see what's happening with the pipes there. Now I can bring those about by here, but they're still going to stick out that much. What can you say? We got what we got. We can't take, you know, we can't do a lot. And again, we're in a position where we got to move these things on, you know. I can honestly say that I built this myself. Well, I did. I cut, you know, we used steel stock. I went and bought some steel to go into it, which is also kind of ironic as well. And if you know, you know. I had to knock it in the head last night because I think for the first time in God knows how long, I had to charge my only M18 battery up. Yeah, I did get my money's worth out of that one. So we can go a bit higher than that. Okay. So we can come in a bit there, but we're not going to go much further. Now got a yeah, one of them on it.
So we haven't actually tested the intercooler. We haven't given it a good run through, seen how it sounds, see how it performs. Now normally we would contract this out to the independent laboratory, just like we did with the last one. However, I wasn't too impressed with how that worked out in terms of the fact that, yeah, we're now replacing the intercooler. So I think we might give those guys a miss on this one. We might go back to them at some point in the future, but I think that we should test this in-house. I think this is going to have a lot more sustain. I think it's going to have a lot more going for it. It should perform quite similar in terms of tone and but I think that it's going to have a lot more sort of vibrato and sustain. So let's just wind this up here and see how this looks. You know, let's give it a crack.
So we've now got this all in place. This is, I've fabricated that. I'm quite pleased with the way that's turned out. Although the paint job could have been a bit better. And that is, so that material we've replaced with a secondary sort of, you know, so I don't think we've compromised anything on that. and that is, you know, actually I've reinforced in and around there as well, so that's it's all solid. It's really solid actually, and I'm quite pleased with the way it's turned out. This is another little sort of, as you can see, we've got quite an interesting sort of thing going on there, because I tried relocating this up there. That didn't work because these things have got to be primed, so they always need to be in the water effectively, which is useful. I used the fittings, these are AN fittings, I used the fittings that we had with it, tap that out, plug that up, create a plug there because I only had 3 plugs with it, and AN plugs, wow. But I put that one on the bottom there, so that's always below that water level there, so for as long as that water level's there, that's always primed. Now the headlight comes to about there, so there would have been no air able to get up through there, because that thing came up by here and it blocked the whole thing. Now you've got space, and yes, the headlamp does come, you know, but we'll have 30-40 mil of space by there where we didn't have anything before. Next on the agenda is this bad boy. Now, the plan with this, there isn't really one. Well, that's a lie. There's stuff I want to do. Whether I can do it or not is another thing. The problem we got is they do not make, or I can't find one, a black box that fits this car. The only options I've got for exhausts are get one of these custom made and go with that. However, the only people we've got who want, they'll want to custom make the whole thing, and then you're looking at £500 to £600 to £700 for the whole thing. So what I've got planned is we're going to replace this with, so we got, that should be a 15, that should be a 15, that is a 60. Now I even looked into getting that pipe made and nobody would touch it. They either want to make the whole thing or, and I can kind of understand that. So I bought these are about £13 each, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut and weld these ourselves. Now, well, let's just say my TIG welding skills are embryonic, and I know that these are done by machines, so you know, this is part of the process here, because to be honest with you, this is, you know, there are other ways of doing this, but I feel that this is the learning process, and this is part of the whole thing, because this car is something I can honestly say that I built, you know, and building something like this and fabricating something like this is, in my opinion, part of the process. You have to excuse all the mess on the floor. That's I was in the process of cleaning up, and I get sidetracked and then think I've got to do that instead. So what we got, that's one bit, and I'll worry about that again. And there's 2 things that have got to be done on this. We're going to make that because we've got some swaged ends over there that are going on there, so we can slide that down over there to make this, yeah. Now I've been practicing with the Tiggy Wiggy there, and I can quite honestly say that right now my welding's shit, but it's not going to stop me, because how else do you learn? How else you get better? You have to put yourself in the position and just go for it. I want to make sure that we're welding with these are stainless. This is all stainless steel, so I want to make sure that we're welding with stainless steel. I can get stainless steel MIG wire, but I thought we've got a TIG welder. Let's do it like that. And I did start to dial it in better right towards the end there whilst I was on. I thought, you know what, I think we should just send it. Let's move that back. Oh, 7 or 8 mil. So it's gone back that way. That should sort that little problem out. So now we've got to sort that end out. So we got a nice little piece tacked on there. It's do the job nicely. So let's see if we can make a complete and utter hash of this. It's not the greatest, but still, that's the first time I've used it in anger. And obviously, compared to this old machine weld, or yeah, obviously that's better. But yeah, I'm not displeased with it, and it's definitely a sound weld. Yeah, it'll get better. It'll all get better as I do more. You build it, it's yours, you know. Yeah. Right. I think it's time for a cold snack. Oh, you know, it's still here. That's where that needs to be. Have I got that? Yeah, that's where that needs to be. Which is great, because now we've got something to work with. We've welded in the one bit, and we've also kept the flexibility in there. That's right. That's a slip joint there now, which is pretty much in the right place, or it should be in the right place anyway. So I've expertly measured this with yeah, with these, and it's come out like that, you know. And I've even got a line round it to make sure it's, you know, straight. Now here we go. I even got a newish. It's not new, but it's newish. I mean, it was newer than that one. Disc on the wheel of death here, and we're gonna try not to cut our fingers off, because that happened the other night as well, nearly. Was it? If you stand back and look at it, tell me what it looks like.
It's like an exhaust.
But is it straight? When you see
straight.
When you see low, is it do it? Because to me, that's, yeah, it's that there. I don't think it's going to get any better than that.
It's pretty much zero.
Yeah, yeah. So we don't touch that now.
Oh no, I see. I can see the shape of that. It goes up and over, doesn't
yeah,
it?
Yeah.
Doesn't.
Now, what we got here is pretty damn bloody good. However, you'll notice that we're slightly short on that piece there. So what I'm going to do is, instead of, you know, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to make that slightly longer, this is, and slightly wide, so this is going to fit in side there, and then I'll come up to there, it'll extend it, and what will happen is we can move this about a bit on the car. When we get it in the right place and it's all sorted and everything's lined up, we'll tack it. Then we'll weld everything. Yeah, okay. So because I didn't press record on all of that, I've got to sort of say all this again, because I've already put this in there now, which was, you know, half the thing. I'm all for, you know, some sort of advantage when it comes to, you know, and even if it comes in the promise of snake oil, because let's face it, this is red line water wetter. Now, how you make water wetter than it already is, I do not know. I mean, water is pretty wet. In fact, I don't know anything that's wetter than water. Right? If I wanted to get something wet, I'd throw water on it, you know? That's what I do. But I've chucked the whole thing in there because it said you measure out, you know, ounces, quarts, and everything. So I put the whole thing in. It says it'll reduce the temperatures by up to 20 Fs. Now I've got to know what that, you know, I thought F was farads. What's the worst that can happen? I mean, it was the same colour as the coolant that was in there, so it can't be bad, can it? As you can also see, I've relocated the biposto valve, and this is now, I've got to clip some of these in to keep them out of the way. So we've got this intake, has got several paths through. In other words, this is a lot clearer down here, right? We should be getting a bit more air up there, and when I finish these, there'll be a duct that goes up, you know, and you can see the difference that's made up there, because I can get my hand up the back of there now. That is sitting now probably about 15 mil better up when it's down, and I've achieved this by bending that bracket there, moving the pipe about 5 mil that way by taking a tiny sliver off the one end of it and moving it. I've compared this to the before and after and everything else, and honestly I can't get over how well I got the shape. The difference being is the pipe is obviously a lot thicker, and perhaps I didn't allow for that as much as I should have. And it's quite funny because I was looking at the pictures of the car when I built it originally, because I rebuilt this from scrap basically, which was 3 and a bit years ago now, and it's probably done 7,000 or 8,000 miles since then, and the difference is unbelievable because I cleaned everything, and all of this was a nice black and grey, and everything was, and now look at it, it's what 8,000 miles does to a car. No, that's what it does. There you go, because now it's you know, it's there. Right, so that's yeah, so we're not leaking any oil down there, which is good, which means all that. Now we have had all this out before, but these plugs are either the originals or at some point the engine would have been serviced, but we've been all through this. We did all this on the you know, on the original setup, and one thing or another when we changed the engine. We're not showing any, you know, and that tip where the actual firing is correct. Now I've got to be careful because this thing is red hot, and that was the only way I could get out there. So these are Fiat plugs. That's an IKR 9J8. Well, it's just as well I got the right plugs then, isn't it? They're not cheap, these. They're bloody not cheap, these. And they should, I'm not going to check the gap, because the gap should be the same, and the gap should be correct. Gapped. Quite a bit has passed water, bridge, under, that type of thing. We're currently on a drive up to Chorley to get the final tune put on it, which is a good thing. We've set everything else, set everything up now as best we can. The concern has been around the intake temperatures and all the different bits and pieces, and I'm hoping, because I've insulated pipes, I've done this, I've done that, I've taken bits of trim out to try and make sure that we've got air flowing through, and we're in a good place with it. Today I had all the some of the pipes off, did a bit of insulating, whatever, because we were suffering from heat soak, where I think the heat was getting back into it from the actual charge pipe. Oh, I took the pipe off. It comes down and it catches, or it's very, very close to the radiator fan plug. I got caught in traffic, and I'm sat there watching these temperatures, and I noticed that the coolant temperature hit 106. I was like, that's never done that before. And what happened was I knocked the plug out. It's a good thing I got all the tools in the back, proper Derek style, you know. And yeah, we performed a few repairs at this service station, which is very Derek actually, yeah. Oh, morning. Oh, yes, so perfectly fine evening. We're going to go and get some coffee now. Unfortunately, the only
game in town is the Green Lady, and I don't normally subscribe to the Green Lady because the Green Lady is, you know, corporate, whatever. But let's go and get some Java. I wanted hot coffee, I got hot coffee. That is nuclear. They don't put the milk out anymore, you've got to ask for it. If I doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. So we got a short drive to the tuners. Let's get it done.
Right, so that's the run with it as it was, so that's the difference that an exhaust can make. Definite picturesqueness about this place. It's you know, middle of nowhere, that type of thing, and yeah, you know, these inferior machines are kicking around as well. So yeah, where are we? Well, we're done. We're as far as we can go with it. I'll go over the numbers a bit later because that's, you know, as you see, we had a bit of an issue. You know, it's never been an issue before, but we had a bit of an issue. So I've got to resolve this and get everything put back together. That's why the bumper's off. It's not because of the cooling, it's because this seized. So yeah, I get to fix this Derek style in the dirt. Some crap.
I'm still up north, still haven't seen any whippets, but car's done. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna get some grub and sort out a bit of a clean up and one thing or another, and then I'll get back and we'll have a roundup. Let's have a crack. I can see another review coming on here.
So I'm currently on the M6, just come out of one of the smart bits, which didn't really feel very smart, especially when you've got a truck that's 3 feet away from your bumper, because they don't want to do 50 like the sign says. Anyway, currently we're on our way back down south, driving a car that has been, you know, we're done with it. we hopefully have achieved everything that we can, you know. The headline numbers, because everyone wants to know numbers, is we've got 198 brake horsepower and 206 pound-feet of torque. This means that we didn't hit the 200, but a number is a number. This was optimized around where it felt right, and that's kind of, in my opinion, is the right thing to do. Don't get me wrong, it would have been nice from a symbolic point of view to see, yeah, actually we've got 200, you know, we've doubled the 100, but it wasn't the right thing to do. So, you know, and I'll be honest with you, technically speaking, the Panda only had 99. So the 100 horsepower only had 99 brake horsepower on paper. Genuinely. Look it up. So we technically did double the horsepower. All that aside, what I've been left with is a car that is driving very nicely. The optimization feels right. Previously, despite it having power and all of these things and one thing or another, and it was, you know, it was nothing really wrong with it, you could tell that it wasn't quite happy with the changes that we'd made. Now it's optimized around the systems that we put in place, so the exhaust, the intercooler, and a few bits and pieces. It's optimized around that. It's been mapped accordingly, so it's not what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't feel as uncomfortable, and it did feel kind of uncomfortable in its own shell, as it were. Sometimes when you drove it, it was a bit coughy, a bit spluttery, a bit a bit, you know. Now it's not. It's smooth. It's pulling nicely. You can tell there's a bit more power than there was before as well. It is there, especially lower down, pulling from lower down. So it's made it a lot more drivable. So when you get those advantages from an optimization, is the number really that important? Probably not. So plans going forward, the car's got to be used, you know. It will get a run back and forth every couple of days, and we're going to do some track days with it. We're going to have some fun with it. We're going to use it because that's why we build it. It's not meant to be constantly in a state of repair. It's meant to be used. Hopefully that's what we'll get out of it, and I'm looking forward to it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to concentrate on what I'm doing and try and get myself back home. Let's have a crack.
I stretched out my hands to help in your hour of need. Could not find a way to say, did not matter anyway, what you say or what you do. But just know what I've been through with no help from you. I wish I could find a way in which I could see how to be free. I wish I could fly outside my head, right into someone else's. 1,000 miles away, everyone is waiting there for me. No, I belong to a different world, one with me. 1,000 miles away, everyone is waiting there for me. No, I belong to a different Everyone is waiting, waiting there for me. Now I belong to a different world, one with me.
It's alright, that.